Hey, football fans, welcome back to another episode of Lions Latest, the show where we gather around and we talk about the greatest team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. I'm your host, Bryan Hanes, and we have some updates and some, not rumors, but just some updates to talk about today. So let's just jump straight into the video. Starting off, we're talking about Tim Patrick and the trade the Lions made this morning with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are acquiring Tim Patrick in a trade with the Detroit Lions. NFL insider Tom Pelissero reported Wednesday morning. Per a source informed the deal that Jacksonville is sending a 2026 sixth round pick to Detroit in exchange for the veteran receiver. He'll be a veteran presence alongside other receivers like Brian Thomas Jr., rookie Travis Hunter, and 25-year-old Diami Brown. With such a young crew, Coach Liam Cohen now adds the savvy vet with size and strong hands to this team to kind of round out the receiving core. He's a reserve role for sure, but his red zone targetability and his ability to just go out and grab catches when you need him to on like big plays, big conversions, he's going to be absolutely great in Jacksonville, and I'm sure Jags fans are excited about this. The 31-year-old receiver who missed all of the 2022 and 2023 season due to ACL and Achilles injuries, respectively, played 16 games in Detroit last season. He corralled 33 passes for 394 yards and 3 touchdowns. Two were in the same game. An undrafted free agent 2017, Patrick found his home in Denver, generating 2,009 yards and 12 touchdowns from 2018 to 2021. So he's no slouch in terms of being a reliable receiver. He can absolutely do that. He's just had injury problems. But with the Lions last year, he did pretty good for us. We didn't have to worry about injuries with him. And when we needed him to show up in games, he showed up. He just was kind of that weird target that you didn't know when you were going to see him, but he ended up always making good plays. That one against Dallas, where deep ball from Goff, and he just goes and grabs it somehow, like low, right next to the ground. I remember seeing that and going, okay, Tim Patrick, welcome to Detroit. So I'm sure the Jags are excited about that. That's really cool. We talked about yesterday how we were going to try to get some trade value out of him, and it happened sooner than we thought. There was also us talking about how we thought he was going to stay on the team for at least the first few weeks of the season, and then we'll make a move once Tesla is quote unquote ready. But it's kind of seems like that we're making moves right now, getting Tim Patrick out, freeing up some space. And since we're freeing up space, that means we can add more people to the roster. We'll talk about that a little later with that subject down there. But that also gives us room for more guys who we should bring back, right? We've talked about it yesterday. We've talked about it before. If Dan and Brad have a plan, I trust. And if they're making moves like this, then they know something. They're putting something together right now. Tim Patrick, thank you for your time in Detroit, first and foremost. You were kind of one of those receivers I didn't think much of because of your injury history, but you ended up being a really good piece for us. You got us through some games, and you were just another target down the field for Jared Goff to throw the ball to, and you did your job perfectly. You weren't just kind of there floating around. You did your job, and it was really cool to see you here. I think him alongside Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter are going to be filthy. Diami Brown, respectively, too, is awesome, but we know Travis Hunter. We've seen what he did last year in college. Excited to see what he does with Trevor Lawrence. And the fact that they got Brian Thomas Jr. coming into his second year after a really strong first year. Tim Patrick's just someone else to worry about. As long as Trevor Lawrence gets the ball in their hands and stays healthy, I can see the Jags being pretty good offensively this year. They got a good squad right now in that receiver room. So I have to just wait and see. But best of luck to you, Tim Patrick. Hopefully everything goes well in Jacksonville, and we appreciate your time here in Detroit. That's going to bring us to our second topic. Kind of goes perfectly into the second topic, where we're now talking about this rookie receiver having a chance. What rookie receiver are you asking me? Well, of course, Isaac Tesla, right? Kind of bouncing off the last topic we talked about for a while now. Is Tesla going to be in late season, mid season? Or are we just going to throw him in for a few plays and see what he can do in the regular season offense? It kind of seems like we've made up our minds, or rather, Dan and Brad have made up their minds. They're taking a serious chance on him being a starter right now. And I don't necessarily see any of our other receivers coming forth and taking it over him. I think we've seen enough for what we wanted to see from him, and it's time to throw him in. Looking at his preseason stats, I think he absolutely deserved it. He was tied for 13th in receptions, 146 yards. He was 7th. He was tied for first in touchdowns, and he averaged 14.6 yards a catch, tied 94th, whatever. That stat doesn't really matter. He was such a safe receiver to throw to. Kyle Allen knew, like we keep talking about this, Kyle Allen could just throw the ball up and he could just come down with it, and he didn't really have to worry about him at all. Um, And I think that's kind of translating right now. I think Dan Campbell figured out, well, if Kyle Allen's getting him the ball and he's catching almost every single pass and all his red zone targets, he comes down with it. Why not throw him with a guy like Jared Goff, right? Now we're going to see what a passer with more skill in the pocket can do. Um, and I think he's going to be great. I think we're going to definitely see a breakout from him. I'm almost looking for somewhere like Sam Laporta stats, where he's this big body receiver, first year. He's going to definitely be a. I have my looks aren't or my any of the looks you give aren't good. They aren't good looks. Where's Tesla? Let's just chuck it to him. He's bigger than the other guys. He's got the speed. He's got strong hands. The dude's got glue on his hands. I think this is just good. We're going to see a lot from him in the beginning of the season, and it's going to tell a lot about the end of the season. What I am worried about is drops, and we've already talked about how he's got the strong hands and the glue on his hands. But now he's hyped, right? Now he's excited. You're going to get into this regular season. If you get a drop like in your first three throws, I don't know what that'll do to your confidence, right? You get thrown in, you get this big chance. A drop like that might kill your confidence, but with a guy like him, and we've seen how gritty he is, how happy he likes to play, how much fun he likes to have while playing, it might not even be a worry we have to have. And I think even if he has a drop, he'll be fine. But the news will always say, "Oh, he's got dropsies. Oh, he's have issues dropping a few passes." I think he's going to work his way into this offense, and by the end of the season, we're going to see a really good fit where we expect him to be thrown to on second and long, on third and long, right? But he's in good company. JMO's there, St. Brown is there, and they're safe targets too. So it's even going to free up a little bit of passing game for him. I'm excited to see what he'll do, guys. My only concern here is he going to start right off as wide receiver 3? Now, I'd assume yes, but what do you guys think? Is Khalif Raymond going to start over him initially, right? Some of these more vet players we have. Is wide receiver 3, even if he achieves it, are we even going to see a ton of him, or is he just going to be used on like weird screen plays? Are we just going to see him on motion plays? Are we even going to get to really see him perform as that downfield vertical threat receiver? I'm not sure. I would assume yes, though. I think we're going to get a lot of use out of this guy. Definitely a good player to go for in the third round of the draft. I wasn't even thinking about this guy when the draft happened. So when we got him, I figured out his story, and now I've seen him play. Super excited. Isaac Tesla should be someone to keep your eyes on this season. Let me know what you guys think. Is he just going to go on right off the bat and just be a perfect fit in this offense? Or are we going to have to give him shared touches with guys like Khalif Raymond? Let me know what you think. I'm excited to hear your opinions on this one because it really does seem like Tim Patrick leaving was the avenue for the younger big body receiver, the faster big body receiver to go in and start doing stuff for us. With that being said, let's move to our third topic. Dan Skipper, where is he going? So there's been a couple of rumors of what's going to happen after I initially thought we were going to wait till the after waivers clear to pick him back up, save some room, maybe get him on the practice squad. And this is what's really happening right now. So Skipper did have a solid offseason with us. Looked perfect. Backup tackle to the injury-prone Taylor Decker. As we know, he's been dealing with shoulder problems. It just kind of seemed like a good fit to have him ready to go. But he now finds himself without a team. Just 2 weeks left to go before the regular season. He's likely to be scooped up by a team that needs an O-line right now, specifically tackle. And I bet he'll even get some starting reps if he goes there. It's hard to say what's next for him, though. Clearly still has something to provide to the NFL right now with his size, his agility, and his skill. And one team does make a ton of sense to grab him right now in the Chicago Bears, unfortunately. So the Bears' depth at left tackle right now is not super inspiring, not super overwhelming at all, especially if you're unmoved by the team appearing ready to start the season with just Ozzie Trapilo starting at the starter and Braxton Jones as the backup. Jones is an excellent pass protector and run blocker, having only allowed 2 hits in 2 seasons. Trapilo is an unproven rookie. He'll be called upon if any injuries were to stop Jones from suiting up. But then what happens? Jones is coming back from a surgery he underwent this offseason on a broken ankle he sustained towards the end of the 2024 season. So it gives you some pause as to whether you can think he's consistent or reliable for an entire full season now. That makes me think he's probably going to go to the Bears, unfortunately. He's got Ben Johnson, right? It's possible that the Lions release Skipper as a means of bringing him back on a new deal, though, like we've mentioned. Clearing some space on the roster for another signing. This could be a signal something in the works for Zadarius Smith, right? Because if we don't sign him by the beginning of the season, I don't know what we're even doing. He's just there for the taking. He wants to be here. But I think that's honestly what we were doing here. Zadarius Smith coming back because we still need help at pass rush, but I do think we were just moving him around for the time being. but they're saying he won't even wait for the Lions to grab him. If there's a better deal somewhere else, why doesn't he just take it, right? I think Brad and Dave have a plan going, and they're going to be able to just grab him anyways. I think that's what's happening. But if not, it would really suck to lose Dan Skipper as a left tackle right now with Taylor Decker still dealing with shoulder stuff. Another rumor, and the one that I could actually see is probably more probable, is that the Steelers might even grab Dan Skipper. The Steelers' offensive tackle situation is really in a flux right now with starting tackles Broderick Jones and Troy Fatanu showing promise, but overall depth needing improvement following Calvin Anderson's injury and the surprising cut of Dylan Cook. So I could see them just going and grabbing it because they need assurance that there's going to be somebody there who's not still really developing, someone who's already, they know what they're going to get out of them. And the Steelers have been signing older players all season, so why not sign Dan Skipper, right? I could see this one definitely happening. Give another guy to protect Aaron Rodgers, right? Because Aaron Rodgers is old, and if you let him get one bad hit again, I'm not sure if you're going to have that starter you waited all offseason to grab, Pittsburgh. I'm not sure about this one. I think, honestly, we are going to grab him back. But if not, Bears, Steelers, they could just go grab him. There's nothing really stopping them right now other than Skipper saying no. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Is it worth it for us to go back and grab him? I think so. I think left tackle is a position we're a little light in right now. Having him would be great. Or does he go somewhere else? What do you guys think? This one's definitely in the air, but I'm excited to see what happens with Dan Skipper since he is one of my favorite Lions for his catches, for his receptions, and his Madden wide receiver card is absolutely elite. So hopefully he comes back to the Lions. He is one of my players I love to see on the field. That's going to take us to our final topic of today, though. Well, we're talking about a new free agent signing with the Lions. So after this trade with Tim Patrick and after Dan Skipper being released to add more free room, the Lions did what everyone thought they would do, and they went and grabbed another player. The Detroit Lions are filling one vacant spot on their 53-man roster by signing former Jacksonville Jaguars safety Daniel Thomas. Released by the Jaguars at Tuesday's roster cut deadline, Thomas was a core special teams player for Jacksonville in each of his 5 NFL seasons and bolsters the Lions' depth at one of their thinnest positions. His signing will become official once he passes a physical, so it's basically already done. The Lions only kept 2 safeties when they set their initial roster. Starters Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, who we all know and love. Cornerback Rock Ya-Sin has been playing as the team's number 3 safety, which surprised me. Most of his training camp, though he hadn't really played the position since high school, apparently, so I'm not really sure why that, but apparently he's been good enough to stay at safety. And backup slot cornerback Avonte Maddox also has safety experience. The Lions went light in their secondary on their roster in general, and Tuesday's deadline keeping 8 defensive backs. Last year, the Lions kept 52 players on their initial roster and signed defensive tackle Chris Smith at the very last second before the game against the Rams. Smith made the initial roster this year. Thomas, a 5th-round pick out of Auburn in 2020, made 2 starts in each of his first 2 seasons, but saw fewer than 35 defensive snaps in the past 3 years, so it's not necessarily a sure thing. Looking at his career in Jacksonville, he had 71 total tackles, 50 were solo, 21 were assisted. He had a fumble return and an interception. So knows how to locate the ball in a position that I've talked about we need to have some more guys for just in case our stars at safety get knocked out. And if he's a core special teams player, it's always good to have another guy who can make big plays, big turnovers happen for us in a position where it could save the game. So I'm excited about this one. I hope you guys are too. It's always good to have another safety, guys. We were really lucky that Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch stayed healthy for most. I think Kirby Joseph was out for a little bit, but most of last season. Not Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch. Because if both of them had gone out, our secondary would have been fried. So good to have another guy like this, especially with how physical both of our safeties like to play. I think it's a good deal. I think especially now that we have this trade from Jacksonville, we get a pick and one of their former good players. I'm excited to see what happens with this one, and I think we're cooking for this next draft where we definitely have some players we need to go look at. Offensive line, quarterback even maybe, if we're not too sure about Jared Goff's future. Just saying, it's looking good right now. I'm excited for the beginning of the season, and I'm excited for the draft next season. So with that being said, we are out of time today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Lions Latest. If you made it to this point of the video, tell me right now in the comments what you think about Dan Skipper and what his future is going to look like in the next few weeks. Where's he going to go? Is he coming back to the Lions? And why should we take him over anyone else? Thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you never miss a video here. We do video Monday through Friday, so we always have new stuff for the Lions, and hopefully you guys enjoy seeing it. But I will see you in the next video. You guys have a great rest of your day.